Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Save SA Wine live stream. It's Thursday, the 19th of November, and the main thing that's coming, that's people are focusing now is Black Friday. I see there's a problem with our Black Friday image, but maybe that's the image to show us that Black Friday is coming. Anyway, I can't fix that now. But Black Friday is the last Friday in November, and it's on the 29th. It's next week, Friday, and it's there's lots of specials coming. The wine farms are really coming to the party, and if you want to see the specials, go to visit the winelands.bitmedia24.com /black-friday. It's visit the winelands.bitmedia24.com /black-friday, and you'll be able to see all our Black Friday specials. Also, if you're a winery or a wine producer or a wine seller, or a Winelands business with a Black Friday special, you can come list there on your page. It's totally free. Please message us, tell us about your Black Friday specials. We'll promote them as much as we can here on Save SA Wine, and that would be fantastic if you could support Black Friday. Also use hashtag Black Friday, and of course hashtag Save SA Wine, hashtag Drink South African, hashtag Save SA Wine Mural. I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's see what else we have on this morning's show. We have Breakfast with a View. This is almost like a Black Friday special in itself. You can come have a fantastic breakfast in the Winelands at Haskell Vineyards. Starts at, we need to fix this image as well. It starts at 9:30 to 2 o'clock. You can email them at info@haskellvineyards.com or call them at 021 881 3895. Also from Haskell, you can win a food and wine pairing by going to haskellfoodandwine.gr8.com. Just enter your email address at haskellfoodandwine.gr8.com and you can win a food and wine pairing. But the excitement in the Winelands are not stopping. Lots of things happening. Our Winelands Spy is planning a single wine soiree at a secret destination in the Winelands on the 5th of December. And if you are single, you love wine, you're up for a blind tasting of the wine, of course, and you feel fabulous, then swipe right, or in this case, vote yes, or just message us for details. And this is going to be exciting and something different. So please come join us for that. Then our big project ending off this year is the SA Wine Mural. The SA Wine Mural is just hold on here. Let me just move my screen a little bit. This project is launching on the fantastic feedback from the hashtag 1660 campaign. And thanks to that campaign, we've reached over 300,000 people per month, creating a much needed buzz around the South African wine industry. A big shout out to Uncorkified Erica Taylor. We are now partnering with Robinson and Sinclair and Baz Art. They are art charity, and we're taking over the corner building of 192 Loop Street in Cape Town. And we are prettying up this building with the Save SA Wine mural. The mural will debut on the first Thursday in December, and this will be our kickoff for summer. Use hashtag Save SA Wine Mural, hashtag Save SA Wine, and hashtag Drink South African. So please support us with this. We really, really need your support. Then, like they say in the infomercials, that's not all. We are also, from our friends at the Fishwives Club, they have a massive giveaway. You can win wine for a year. You need to get your name in the box. This draw is on the 31st of December, New Year's Eve. And all you have to do is fill in your name on wineforayear.gr8.com. That's wineforayear.gr8.com. And what will happen is you, as a winner, will receive a case of Fishwives Club wine, a cultivar of your choice, delivered to your door every single month in 2021 if you are the winner. So enter your name now. This is a fantastic giveaway. And then our featured podcast for today. I had a great chat with the Bruin Steenkamp. He's the owner of Friesland Wines. He's also a Cape Wine Master. And it's a very interesting interview with him. Please listen to this. If you want to be on your podcast, send us an email at visitthewinelands@gmail.com. That's visitthewinelands@gmail.com. But now let's listen to the explainer video and the podcast with the Bruin Steenkamp. And we'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we'll be chatting to leaders, influencers, wine producers, restaurants, winelands businesses, and other role players. Tune in every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for our latest episodes. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Hi everyone, and welcome back to About the Winelands. Today I'm speaking to De Bruin Steenkamp. De Bruin is the owner of Friesland Wines in Stellenbosch. Hi De Bruin, how are you?
Hi Will, yeah, great talking to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, welcome to About the Winelands. Our listeners will be very interested, to hear your story. And can we kick off with that? Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you became involved in the wine industry?
Thank you. Yes, so I grew up as fourth generation on our Steenkamp family farms. That's in the Bottlery Hills outside of Stellenbosch. So we've got two family pieces of land, Groenland and Friesland, and they are adjacent. So I grew up there, and then initially I wanted to be a lawyer, so I qualified as an attorney, and I did my master's in trade law, and I decided I'd rather go into wine. So I started working for Distell. I was there for 9 years, 4 years in London, looking after the European wine business, and I met my wife there. Also did my Cape Wine Masters, and I got back, and then I worked at KWV for 7 years as head of global marketing and sales. And then I just thought it's now the time when I turned 40 to do my own thing. So then we launched the Friesland wine brand about close to 2 years ago, say about 20 months ago. And it's been real fun. So it's me and my wife, Marilise, and my sister Maurice, who's also a winemaker.
Wow, that's awesome. So you have known from a young age that you're going to be in the wine industry, although you went and studied law, right?
Yes, yeah, listen, it's in our blood. And the nice thing now is that luckily I could use some of my experience obviously in contracting internationally and traveling internationally and working with importers and the commercial piece and the legal piece of the business, which I think is very, very important. It's one thing making wine, but obviously to develop markets to sell it profitably is something else. So yeah, I think that stands me in good stead.
So if I hear you correctly, Friesland is more than a wine. It's also, you know, it's also part of the history of a farming enterprise. Can you tell us a little bit more about the history and how did you decide on the name
Yes.
Friesland Wines and your brand and everything?
100%. So the big farm is called Groenland. That's one down the road, and that's fourth generation. Interesting enough, it comes through the lady. So my mom grew up there. My dad came from the Karoo, and then he married my mom. My grandfather passed away, and then my dad sort of bought the farm from his in-laws. And that's where I grew up. And then my dad acquired Friesland, which is a 36 hectare farm just up the road in 1999. So Friesland came to the family business a bit later, and it's been formed as two economic units, but by my father and my brother Piet. And then I said to my dad, yo, before we all get too old, why don't we launch our own trademark? And then I launched Friesland, as I say, October 2018. So the vineyard or the farm has always been there, but now I've launched a trademark to go with a farm called Friesland. The nice thing is we are all from Dutch stock originally, and Friesland is a province in the northern part of the Netherlands. And the first teerkoms came from that area in the late 1600s, so there's a nice tie back to our Dutch ancestry way, way, way back. And that's a nice story.
Do you use any of the Friesland images? I actually had a Friesland whiskey once, which was quite interesting.
No, so at the moment, no, all the imagery we use at the moment is tied back to the farm, which is the view on Table Mountain, Table Bay. There's a little windmill, there's the beautiful vineyards and all that. And then we obviously plan that Dutch heritage, but at this stage it's quite focused on the farm imagery and not yet the Dutch piece of the visuals.
So before you had your own brand, did you basically send your grapes to somebody else? Or did you sell your grapes?
Yes.
Okay, so have you established your own winery now as well with your buildings and everything? Or are you making
No, so not, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's a good question. So Groenland with Friesland have been, I think, the longest supplied to KWV, Distel, and then quite a few other smaller wineries also buy from us, very, very well-known farms. At the moment, we use the Groenland wine cellar. They've got a red wine cellar, which is gorgeous. It's a beautiful old cellar built in 1932. And we use that for making the red wines of Groenland and Friesland that's made there. We don't have a white wine cellar. So there we've got a little JV with our very good friends, Dari Stater from Kaapstad next door. And he assists me on the white wine side. So Friesland is a virtual brand. Most of the wines come from Friesland and or Groenland, and then we add in a bit from the Botterij Hills we needed.
Okay, that's excellent. So tell us a little bit about Friesland itself. You know, I see that you're welcoming guests there. What can a guest experience in visiting you guys?
Yeah, so we decided to try and be really modern, and by that I mean two things. A, our sales strategy is focused around B2C, so direct business to consumer. So we don't really do the retail thing. We sell directly to customers and we work with wine clubs. And when it comes to the experience, it's exactly the same. We decided, obviously it's very expensive as well, but we're not going to have a big tasting room. Groenland has got a beautiful tasting room down the road, but we've got a tasting deck in the vineyards. So we're focusing more on experiences rather than, let's say, bricks and mortar. And we've got a tasting deck in the vineyards with a gorgeous little aftak lapa thingy, and you can also braai there or have snacks or whatever, and then we welcome guests and corporate groups of say 10, 20, 30, 40 people, and then we do tastings for them in the vineyards. So that's what we do. That's our angle, obviously weather permitting.
That's very interesting. I think, I mean, we know that the whole world is going from direct to consumer route. So that's a very interesting marketing perspective. Did you decide that because of your international sales experience and the way you saw the industry going?
I think so, yes. And obviously, you can now see with the whole C19 thing, I think I was lucky enough that it now happened at the right time. But we just thought that's the way to go. I can see that, I mean, even if you look at Europe, where there's quite a deflationary type of environment, people can't work through middlemen all the time. And then it's also the high fixed cost when it comes to appointing salespeople and big kickbacks to trade and all that. We just can't afford that. And we just thought it just makes much more sense. And people, I think the youngsters, they are into authentic brands and perhaps not all the corporate brands, with all respect to them. So our little unique story is to have a good story to tell and go direct to the consumer.
Well, that's very interesting. I just saw online that there's a brand in the US, I don't know if you know them, called Empathy Wines. They started
Yes.
18 months ago, and they were sold to Constellation for 8 figures in dollars.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a big dream, eh?
They grew Empathy Wines from nothing, just a label,
Yeah.
with the social media influence into a massive brand. And like I said, it was sold to Constellation. So there's definitely, I think this whole business to consumer thing in South Africa is still very much in its infancy, and it's going to grow. So,
Yes, absolutely. I
your
can't agree
wines.
more.
No.
Yeah. Now, I'm just saying, and then obviously I forgot to mention that what we do as part of that is we do corporate tastings. And people want to see the wine person itself. So I will go to Gauteng or in the Western Cape and I'll do tastings with people. And there's a real tangibility to the brand. And people understand it. They've seen the wine person or the owner or the winemaker, and then they get really loyal. And then it's obviously word of mouth, which is really, really powerful.
Well, that brings us to the important thing, is the actual wines. So can you tell us a little bit about the wines that you are making, and also your winemaking philosophy?
Okay, so we've got 5 wines in the range. I'm quite a Bordeaux fan, and I think thinking Stellenbosch, obviously Cab and Merlot have to feature. Our Merlots are quite big and robust. And I thought on the red side, I'm going to start with the Merlot Cabernet. It's about a 51-49% blend. So our Merlots are really powerful, but they're still very silky, fruit driven, and obviously Cab jabs it for structure. So I love Bordeaux, so I've got a Merlot Cab, and as you know, Merlot's the biggest selling red variety in South Africa, and the ladies also love that. So I think that's a nice sort of unique point, because we don't have so many good Merlots in South Africa. And then I've got a Sauvignon Blanc, which is really good. It's more of a tropical fruit flavor style, but it's still very dry, with a residual sugar of less than 3 grams. And that's just for really great enjoyment every day. Then we've got 2 reserve wines. The one is called Brother and Sister Shiraz Grenache, because we also like those big, hearty, sexy, spicy wines. And the Shiraz is the brother in the blend, and the Grenache, obviously, the more feminine, delicate sister in the blend. And that's me and my sister Marie, Brother and Sister. It's 85% Shiraz and 15% Grenache. And then we've got a beautiful, lightly wooded Chenin Blanc called Berg en See, Mountain and Sea. Obviously, honoring our beautiful type of mountain that we look out towards, and obviously the sea that we can see in the distance. And that's lightly oaked. And that's a straight Chenin Blanc. And then we have already bottled it, but we're releasing our top flagship, top Cabernet called the M-Class. Named after my wife, Marilise. We're going to launch that October, November this year. And I don't think we want to keep our range too big. That's really our plan. Obviously, Bottleray, Stellenbosch, well known for red variety, so there will always be a strong red wine focus. But then with the Chenin and the Sauvignon Blanc to complement.
Oh, that's awesome. So it sounds to me like we need to incorporate tasting, and also the way your wines are named, that you are very much focused on the local market. Is that correct, or are you exporting as well?
Yeah, it's a good question. I like the international markets a lot. I mean, obviously you get all the forex advantages and all that, and ship FOB, and there we go. But I think we all agree you do need a strong local footprint, without a doubt. So I'm focusing here. We're doing it town by town and bit by bit. So we're selling quite a lot of wine in Paarl and Stellenbosch and the northern suburbs, Pretoria, Johannesburg, and so forth. We've got a strong following here. And then I've had some international shipments to Scandinavia and Canada and the Middle East and all that. So definitely open for exports. I think that's also where the future lies, because the world is so massive. And I'm not sure how the economy is going to stack up in South Africa. But yes, it's very much strong footprint in SA and then rolling out internationally.
Oh, very interesting. So, I mean, you've been involved with a bunch of other stuff as well. I've seen on your website you have a thing called Banner Global Wine Solutions, which seems to me is a consultancy business. And then you're also director of a Dutch trading company. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, sure. So I do 4 things in one at the moment. So I've got Friesland. Then I work on a contract basis for the Paardeberg Winery, which I really enjoy, because that's a different type of business. They're very big and successful, and that's more Swartland and Paarl. Then I've got Banner, where I do consultancy and I do some private label work internationally with some partners, and we're also looking at an interesting project there. And then Excels is very interesting. We are now launching. We have set up a cooperative in Netherlands. Obviously, the Netherlands is a very compliant jurisdiction, And our plan is to help agribusinesses to internationalize themselves. So I don't want to bore you with all the details, but the long and the short is, if you're a big wine, food, or fruit exporter, and you want substance in the Netherlands, and have a real legitimate basis there, and you want to tie into preferential debtors financing, trade financing, capital grants, and all that, and have bank accounts internationally, then we can help you set that up. And that's quite exciting.
That's a very interesting business, and I think one for the future. Do you guys have a warehousing in the Netherlands as well, or is it just a office?
Yes, so outsource. So what we do is we have got suppliers that will still ship directly to their, say, retailers in Europe or otherwise, and then we will just manage sort of the finance piece in the middle. But yes, we have got a strong logistic partner with warehousing set up in the Netherlands. So yeah, it's a bit of both.
And you do all kinds of agricultural products.
Yes.
I understand fruit and so. What about things like flowers? Are you involved with that as well?
That as well. We haven't got flowers on board yet, but yes, all agri goods, even innovative things, whether it's pulp or extracts or whatever it may be. So it's everything within the agri space we do.
No, that's very interesting. Okay, that's you know. All of this has been turned on its head in the last few months or this year with the coronavirus, right? I mean, it's been turning the whole world on its head, and it's forced all of us to rethink our business models. Have you given any thought, or are you coming up with any new ideas in this area because of this?
Yes. So on the one hand, I think business to consumer is going to be increasingly important, and by that I mean it's a very strong e-commerce solution. So if I was sort of convinced before, I'm now very convinced. So I would strongly advise you need an e-commerce solution. We sell online direct to consumer. There's no other way to go. I'm not sure how well the on-trade is going to recover or how quickly. Retail, yes, retail will always be there, but obviously they're also now under pressure with the lockdown. So you need a very, very strong e-commerce solution. And I still believe there's value to be found in people that's got a strong brand recognition, that like the people behind the brand and that pass on the message. And obviously, I don't need to tell you that the margins are also a bit better. Obviously, if you go through all these other channels or middlemen, there's not a lot of money left at the end. So the direct way of going, I think, is the way to go. And this is now just the ideal time for that. So I'm busy with the whole project there. And then, as I say, also to internationalize ourselves through Excel or otherwise, and then just build a great brand and try and have a lot of fun whilst doing it.
So would you, this is an interesting concept, would you actually expand your direct-to-consumer business to sell direct to consumers in say, Europe as well, from a base in the Netherlands?
We're going to try that.
That's going to be very interesting, because I think you're going to be one of the few people that actually do that from South Africa, which is actually very exciting. In terms of your direct-to-consumer in South Africa, your logistics, I think that's been one of the reasons why South African hasn't caught up onto the whole internet craze of buying, Amazon type thing, is because of maybe a logistical problems. How is it going so far? Is this improving?
Okay, so it used to be good. Obviously, the past month was crazy because we have got a logistic partner in, say, Johannesburg. And what we do is we ship a pallet or two of wine up, and it stands in the warehouse, and then we have it delivered. Okay. But they are really geared to do business to business, to licensed outlets. And now everyone is now ordering from home, and they just couldn't cope with a big load. So I think in principle, yes, everyone is set up, but no one obviously expected this whole craze to happen now during the month of June when everyone just started ordering. So usually in South Africa, you've got a few options. Either you sell to a wine club and they sell on, or you use a courier company directly from your home. That's expensive, but it goes quicker. Or thirdly, you've got a warehousing solution where you carry stock in the regions and then you deliver from there. So it'll take you a bit of longer time to get it to the consumer, but it'll be more affordable. And unfortunately, courier charges, sometimes people see that as a barrier to entry. They think it's too expensive. But I still think overall, I think it's still worth your while rather than having to go down to, say, a supermarket or a restaurant and buy the wines there at an even higher sort of markup. But no one has really figured that out. And obviously, wine is different from other consumer goods. If you go on Takealot or Amazon, it's easy to buy something that's really sort of a consumer item. But wine, people still want to taste the wine, feel it. There's sort of a tangibility there. So people are getting into wine business e-commerce wise, but I think it's a different way of telling a story relative to other consumer goods.
I think I just wanted to ask you before I ask my next question is things like a third-party solution like Takealot, is that a solution or not really?
It's hard to judge. I know about brands. I mean, Takealot's a fantastic brand, make no mistake. I'm not sure how big they are in wine. For some people it is. For other people, they say, no, rather spend your time on your own wine club, sell it or like just online, or go to wine clubs that specialize in wine sales. I think the jury is still out of that one.
Well, I think, you know, I talked about Empathy Wines, and I think the secret was actually exactly what you're saying, brand. The guys managed to build a brand in a very short time, and I think that wins the game in the direct-to-consumer business. But so on that is, how are you going to differentiate your brand from other? Because I mean, every wine business now is putting up an e-commerce shop and trying to go this route. So how are you going to differentiate your brand and build your brand in this area?
And that's an excellent question. We said we've got one of two options. Either we try to be unique or we try to be ourselves. And we thought we'd rather be ourselves. So, you know, there are thousands of wine brands out there. We can't be 100% unique. That's just impossible. But what we are going to do is we're going to try and be focused and disciplined. So we say, A, we're a family business. B, we are Stellenbosch. So all our wines are one of origin Stellenbosch. That means that we're not going to compete at different price points in different regions. That's what we do, even if it costs a bit more. And then we're going to focus on that, let's say, handcrafted, bespoke storytelling image. Even our marketing on social media and otherwise, just focused on that, on just good, honest wines delivered to your door, one of origin Stellenbosch, sense of place. Here's the vineyard, here's the view on Table Mountain, and this is the type of wines that we sell. Hopefully, quite a, let's say, a humble, accessible type of approach, rather than being too big and flashy.
I think what you're saying is right, but also, you know, the fact that you're going to be yourselves means that, and you mentioned the concept of storytelling, and also social media. I think social media is the perfect platform to tell a story. I mean, we've got all the things like YouTube and Facebook, and you know, all those things. So, how are you guys actually? Are you investing in that, in getting your story documented and telling that story? Because I think long term, that story is what builds your brand.
Exactly. So, what I strongly suggest is that if you want to do something, have a strong content plan. You can't just start telling a story. So, what we do is, for instance, there are 4 weeks in a month, and we say every week we do something else. We've got a fan of the month, then a recipe of the month, then a newsworthy event of the month, and then I recorded a video series with my dad. And as I say, unfortunately, he passed away recently, but that's a great 7-series sort of series where I interviewed him. We talked about Friesland, and every month I'm going to post one of those. So it seems like it's very spontaneous, which it is to an extent. But at the back end, I strongly believe that there's got to be strategic planning. And so if you want to tell a story, what is the story? And then how do you tell it? And make sure you sort of make it in a very disciplined, focused, strategic journey that you actually take the consumer on, rather than just saying, hey, I'm having a good sip of wine. Do you like my wine? Because that's a bit empty. I mean, everyone can do that. The story must be very, very intentional.
Very, very interesting. I mean, you can see you have international experience, and your KWV experience comes to mind. So that helps. So,
yeah, well, listen, I must just say, it's not easy. Eh? There are so many wine brands, and the one is cheaper than the other. It's not easy, make no mistake. But I believe you can't take over the whole world, but there will be enough people that like your wine, and then I suppose that must be good enough for you. And for us, it is.
I think to win in the direct consumer business, it's really that you've got to build brand rather than go for short-term sales. You know, you've got two concepts. You've got the one where you've got a sales funnel, you have a mailing list, you have a special, you collect email addresses, and then you just keep on selling. But ultimately, I think that's going to lose to somebody who's building a long-term brand that has a story that people start telling to other people.
Yes.
In the short term, it takes a bit longer, but in the long term, I think that is where we are going to. Because if you think about yourself and your use of your smartphone, how many times do you actually consume content, and how many times do you actually look at an ad? I think the world of advertising is gone. It's all about your right content, right?
Exactly.
So that's very, very interesting. Your wine journey, I mean, yes, it's been quite interesting and diverse. What is the most important thing that you've learned?
I know it's going to sound cliche, but relationships are really everything. Most of the people that I work with these days are people that I've met along the way. and that I got along well with, and they're still friends and partners in some sort of way, whether it's getting wine from or selling wine to or marketing or working together or importing the market. So that's critically important. I think in the wine game, it is a feel-good game. When you go to a big wine fair internationally, people are still laughing and toasting, and you should never sort of lose that. So yes, it's a business. You need to be commercially astute. You must understand your product costings, the value chain, what it ends up on shelf, what all the AMP or the marketing stuff and the operations that you need to spend. So you need to understand the numbers, make no mistake. That's one piece, but then as I say, relationships are critically important. If you can get along with people and make decent wine and understand numbers, then I think you've got a winning recipe. It's easier said than done, but I think that's the ideal.
Oh, that's awesome. So the brain, I need to, I mean, you're in the wine industry, so you have to give us either your own wine quote, or you can steal one from somebody else, your favorite wine quote.
I'm going to say add value. And that means everything. Add value to life. Just be a decent person. Make decent wine. Don't try and be difficult or make life difficult for your consumers or try and screw anyone. Just add value. If you're a decent person, you sell a decent bottle of wine, you're going to make decent friends and you're going to have a great time.
Oh, very, 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 very good quote. Thank you very much.
It's quite simplistic, but yeah, that's the motto I live by.
I like it. I like it. Add value. I mean, that's what we try to do in life, right? To everyone we meet. So, if people want to get hold of you, I mean, you were just saying direct to consumer. So consumers are listening. How do they get hold of you, Debruyne?
Yeah, thank you for that, Will. So obviously our website, www.frieslandwines.com, or they can send an email to me or my wife. Mine is Debruyne, Debruin, at frieslandwines.com, or my wife, Marilise, Marilise, Marilise at frieslandwines.com. But everything is on our website as well. And obviously we're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and the Friesland Wines.
Okay, awesome. So what we'll do is we'll actually put we put all the links in the description below this recording, so that people can get that. And all that's left for me is to say thank you, Debruyne, for spending the time. I know you've been busy. You're busy, and also, you know, you have to make new plans because of recent events. So thank you very much for spending the time, and it's appreciated.
Thank you all, and please come and visit me when it's spring. We are going to sit there in the vineyards and we're going to toast on good times. We're going to have a great glass of wine together in the Stellenbosch vineyards. Thank you so much.
That would be great. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks, Will. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description.